Welcome once again to our Achievers Book Club. I'm Sarah Ndu, your reading companion and guide. Every week here on the Achievement Channel, we open the pages of transformational books that help you live, lead, and achieve more intentionally. This week, we are diving into one of the most powerful personal development books ever written, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. Get ready to discover the habits that shape effectiveness, impact, and legacy, because here at the Achievement Channel, we see possibilities. This book isn't just a bestseller, it's a life shaper. Since 1989, The 7 Habits has equipped millions around the world with timeless principles of personal and interpersonal effectiveness. These aren't quick tips, they are powerful habits for growth, responsibility, discipline, and collaboration. Covey invites us to live not from the outside in, but from the inside out, starting with who we are, not just what we want. Let's unpack the first 3 habits that build our private victory. My guest today is no stranger to impact. He's a speaker, coach, and Nigerian's own Mister Motivator. He's here to help us uncover the life-changing wisdom in these 7 habits. Welcome back to the club, Mister Motivator.
Thank you, Sarah. It's good to be back.
Thank you. So we're going to dive right into the book. So Covey opens with habit 1, saying be proactive. And he distinguishes between proactive people and reactive people. Right. So Mr. Motivator, in our current Nigerian context, what does this mean?
Well, as you know, in the Nigerian environment today, there's too much of reactionary behavior. Something happens, and before people even settle down to critically appraise the situation for what it is, there's already a lot of judgment passed. Conclusions are drawn before people even get to evaluate the substance of what might have happened. It could be at work, it could be even in the social, political space, it could be in business. We see all of that everywhere. And this habit is so important in helping people lead more effective lives. If something happens and the first thing you do is to conclude and react or blame, then you are not effective. You have found yourself becoming one who we can best describe as the tail wagging the dog, rather than the dog wagging the tail. So Covey is very spot on. In other words, Covey is inviting us to develop the qualities that make us responsible rather than being reactionary under every pressure, whether it's work-related pressure, business-related pressure, family-related pressure. Slow down, do some thinking so that you can respond to it rationally rather than emotionally. But to truly get a full sense of understanding and appreciation of why Covey challenges us to have that habit 1 of being proactive, we must understand the overarching philosophy behind even the book itself, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is a book governed by philosophies, a system of thinking from which we may make deductions or carry out actions. For instance, one of the philosophies of that book talks about what? Character. Your character should be dominant. Stephen Covey describes it as the inside-out approach. Most of our problems happen outside. But Covey is saying when you build your choices from a foundation of a well-developed character, then you are bound to make good judgment calls in the face of various kinds of pressure. You would respond rather than react emotionally. That's one of the things that Covey talks about as an overarching disposition towards life. He also talks about shifting our paradigm, changing our mindsets. We should focus more on principles rather than on personalities. Yes, it's good to be hyped up when it comes to how we see and view personalities, whether they are celebrities or people that are renowned. And that's fine. But Covey is saying What principles drive their successes? What principles drive their rise? Can we also look into those as well? And Covey also tells us that we have to manage and try to be effective with the two important variables of our quest, or in our quest for success and achievement. He calls it the PPC balance: production versus production capability or production capacity. Meaning that, yes, we want to get everything done. We want to succeed, we want to achieve, we want to earn, we want to produce. That's okay. But don't become too fixated on your quest for production that you invariably sacrifice the capacity that guarantees that production. Don't want to succeed so hard that you pay a price for it with your health and well-being. Don't want to earn money so much that you hurt your integrity and relationship with others. So these are the overriding principles that then determine the habits, such as being proactive rather than being reactive.
Oh, amazing.
So with this, Covey is saying that anyone that understands these principles will find themselves having the power to choose their responses in spite of the pressure. So take a look at the economic situation in Nigeria right now. There are many people today who are reactionary. Most of them are the ones doing what we know today as Japa, the Japa syndrome. Yes, there can be no sugarcoating the amount of economic pressures and difficulties in Nigeria today. That is the truth. It exists and we are all facing it. But there are many who have reacted by getting a passport, getting visas. Some, their hard-earned savings have been plowed into processing visas. Many have gotten their fingers burnt, they've lost money. Others have gotten visas and they've gone to countries with nothing there for them. Many are even doing what we call jackpot today. There are people who have sold massive assets just to leave the country. Everybody is free to make these choices. But Stephen Covey is saying, whatever the situation might be proactive. In other words, understand that you should be responsible. Take your time. Drive your choices from the standpoint of principles. Yes, things are difficult, things are challenging, but can I adjust my modus operandi in Nigeria and still soar above the challenges? Or is my reaction just, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this place. I need to jackpot, I need to leave. I don't care, I don't want to listen. There are many people today who don't even want to listen to any argument apart from jackpot. And many have gone, as we know, to other countries, and today they are what? Regretting. Some are trying to find their way back home. In other words, jackpotting, for want of a better expression, is not always the solution for everybody. For some, it could be if well thought out. That's a classic example of how we can apply this principle. And please, I don't want anyone to take it out on me, especially online, by thinking that, oh, are you trying to discourage us from being practical or being realistic? No. We're saying that the reality is there. We're not changing the reality. But what is even far more important is how you choose your responses. This is what Stephen Covey is saying. Choose your responses based on principles so that your choices can be from a position of strength rather than a position of weakness.
No. So no excuses, just responsibility.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's amazing. So begin with the end in mind. These habits, it challenges us to live with vision and direction. So Covey says all things are created twice. Firstly mentally,
that's right,
then physically.
That's right.
So what does that look like in real life?
In real life, we've had the concept of having dreams, setting goals, having a vision. That's what Covey is essentially talking about, vision. A mental prefiguring of where you are headed, what you want to achieve. is as practical and as literal as it should be. For instance, we're here. This is the Achievement Channel. It was once a dream in my mind as the founder of this channel. I'd always wanted a TV platform that focuses exclusively on motivational content to perpetuate a can-do culture. When I talked about it to a lot of people, it didn't really make sense because most people's idea of a television platform was for news, current affairs, and what have you. How would you have content? How would you have programming to run a wholly licensed TV platform? How would you do that? But in my mind, I could see it as a possibility. I knew it was possible. Why? Because there was a purpose behind it. And I think that is part of what Covey is indicating here. Beginning with the end in mind makes your life a lot more purposeful, meaning that you are intentional and you have described or mentally pictured where you want to get to. In that way, you can define what it's about. That is the first dimension to his argument that most things are created twice. So mentally see what you want. It could be with reference to your career, to your business, whatever it is that you're doing. But Covey is saying be very intentional about it and then ask yourself, when we get there, would it match up with what I saw? And what will people say about me? And so he challenges us to take time out to prepare adequately for that.
So that's having a clear mindset of...
Yes, a clear vision, a clear picture of where one is going. And he reflects on that. He reflects on that by encouraging every one of us to have a personal mission statement. Everyone should have one. For you, what is your own personal mission statement with regards to your pursuit, with regards to your quest? Define it. For me, my own personal mission statement is embodied in the fact that I always want to inspire and empower people and to perpetuate a can-do culture wherever I find myself. And that informs my every action. Whether it is being asked to give a speech, or I'm running a program or a class, or right now. That summarizes for me what my mission is as Mister Motivator. So even the name Mister Motivator or the appellation Mister Motivator stems from that sense of a mission that people have seen. Anytime he shows up and he speaks to us, we feel charged up, encouraged. We feel that infusion of some positive energy to want to go out there and truly make a difference. Sure. So that is my own approach to the habit of beginning with the end in mind. It then guides subsequent action as the journey continues towards that destination. So everyone should find what that end in mind means for them and turn it into a personal mission statement that drives them day by day.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Motivator.
Thank you.
It's been an amazing and interesting uncover of the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We would go on a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, Mr. Motivator. Thank you. So now we move to habit 3. Put first things first. So this is about time and priorities.
That's right.
So, but in a busy and urgent society like Nigeria, how do we really live this habit?
Simply put, it's not everything you will say yes to. The typical Nigerian, because we are so socially connected and well knit, There is always this brotherly, sisterly culture about us in everything we do. You find that it's always very difficult. We don't typically have a strong culture of people saying no. We are practically saying yes to each other on everything, because that's how we've evolved as a people. Typically, all African societies have that close bond. Oh, I'm rushing, I need someone to help me with the kids at home. For some reason, somehow you're going to find someone to help out with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding that you don't have that broadband, or rather that bandwidth to absorb everything and attend to everything you'd love to, becomes a very important principle. And that's why in this habit, Stephen Covey is simply telling us, learn the art of prioritizing. Because life gets busy, things happen, life gets hectic, and before you know it, you could be easily swept away by the current of so many activities. And then when you look back after a long period of time, you may not have achieved anything significant, but you've been busy.
Absolutely.
So Stephen Covey is warning all of us to say, we don't just want you to be busy. We want you to, through it all, look at the end of the trail and be pleased that you are able to accomplish certain important tangibles. So, in this very busy environment like ours, there must be some non-negotiables in our lives that we prioritize. For me, I think your sense of mission is very important. I know people who will not in any way trifle or compromise about anything related to their goals, to their pursuits in life, because those missions are sacrosanct. So if you come to them requesting their support, their participation, their involvement in anything that creates a misalignment, they are likely to tell you, thanks, but no thanks, no matter how good it is. That is because they understand this principle of putting first things first. First things first, things like family, crucial relationships in life. First things first, take faith for instance. A person's faith. I'm someone who believes that faith must come first. My faith in God, my relationship with Him is number one. I make sure I assign enough of a priority to that daily. First things first, before even my work and my pursuits, because that is my own anchor. So in applying Stephen Covey's principle to my own personal life, that's what I look at. And I'm sure for a lot of people, they reason that way. Family is also a critical area of priority. Then you talk about the work that we do, whether it's a business, it's a career, whatever it is. Friendships, things that fascinate us. So Covey is saying, find a way to intentionally, deliberately organize your affairs such that there is a priority list. If you can do that, when the current of, an event is just coming up this weekend, did you hear Lagbaja's person or Lagbaja's daughter is getting married? They didn't inform us on time because everything, the way it all played out, and they're traveling in tomorrow and we've all got to be there, and all of these things keep popping up. There are people who will not accommodate anything from anyone if it is not pre-scheduled on their calendar. Because if it comes in at a time when they are supposed to be vacationing, catching that much needed rest to rejuvenate, which is another habit, the last habit, which is sharpening the saw in the book, they do not. They will never compromise with that. So if you come in at that point in time, there are people who tell you, sorry, I will be on vacation, I shall not be available. And you might find that being unusual. But that's because they understand the 7 habits, and there must become a place and a time for sharpening the saw. But you can't get there if you do not prioritize and not allow urgent matters drive your choices, drive your actions. And so we must be very careful when it comes to the deceptive feel and value of the urgent. Oh, this is very urgent. We need to take action right now. And everybody starts shaking and bouncing all over the place. And in so doing, we lose track of the important variables with regards to those choices.
Oh, I concur to that, Mr. Motivator.
Absolutely.
Because we are in a society where people are driven by the urgency, the urgency of, addiction of being, you want to answer a call, you want to go here, you want to do this. And at the end of the day, they realize that they really have not, prioritized what is actually a top goal for them.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I
yeah, like you're at work, for instance, you set out a block of 3 hours to solve a particular problem. Because it's important. You pre-planned that. And you've started, you're in the midst of it. And then your phone starts to ring. Yes, maybe it's still work related and there's pressure from left, right, and center. The risk with submitting or succumbing to the urgency of those phone calls would be that you're unable to finish that assignment that had an important designation, ab initio. And so you find so many people with haphazard tasks scattered all over the place because of the endless and bullying intrusion of the urgent. Because when the urgent comes, it tends to bully off every other activity, every other focus, just because it wants priority attention based on the emotional pressure of that moment in time. So it takes that being responsible disposition, being proactive, to ensure that first things remain first, and ensuring that you do not allow the urgent to displace critical priorities.
Mr. Motivator, can you help us, because most of our viewers currently may have the issue of actually prioritizing what is top for them.
Yes.
So can you just give us few tips on how to actually become effective and prioritize and not get distracted by the example you gave, a phone call that comes in. So what are these strategies that people can put in place in order to have a focused goal on their priorities? Yes, so can you give us those strategies?
Okay, so first strategy is to realize that not all tasks, not all matters are created equally. All things are not equal. If you understand that, you could be at work or you could be focused on a particular task and calls come in. You can screen. You can put your phone on silence, and as the calls come in, you can see, okay, no, this looks urgent, but it's not important. In the grand scheme of things, this very moment, I have a critical priority. There could be 1 or 2 calls that come in, and depending on the person, you know that, okay, this is equally of importance. I can take this without it undermining what it is that I'm doing. That's a very practical system. So first and foremost is the thinking. Understand that not all circumstances are created equal. That's number one. So that you don't find yourself trying to spread your attention equally across everything that happens around you. That's the mistake that a lot of people make. Because a call has come in, you give it attention. Somebody walks into the room, oh, good to see you. You spare some energy and attention, and then on and on you go. And by the end of a business day, you have been busy, but major things haven't been done. So clear out, number 2, clear out blocks of time for key tasks or key assignments. And once you do that, determine and ensure that they are non-negotiable until the mission has been accomplished. You can go on a retreat. You can decide to lock your office and tell your secretary or tell people around, please, I wouldn't want to be disturbed. Or if that's going to be an issue, you can switch your phone off for the time being so that you can concentrate on what is priority. In other words, you're able to shut off the inflow of emotional urgencies that could trip you up and make you lose focus. So these are some of the things that you can, at every level, put in place, institutionalize. By being proactive, you're letting people around you know, I will not be available. I see people being very proactive even in their emails. You send an email and then you get an auto response rather than an immediate response. That's because someone thought in advance to say, look, in order for those people sending emails to me to feel respected and regarded, I'll set up an autoresponder. I've seen the email coming, but it's not a priority at this very moment.
Yeah.
I will have to make out the time. It looks urgent. I will have to make out the time and the space in terms of my bandwidth to ensure that I attend to it at the proper time with the proper amount of energy. That's how to go about it. And it becomes a discipline once you can cultivate it. It simply means don't allow sentiments to get in the way. We have this business to do. Let's focus on it. And once we are done, regardless of what tries to muscle in on attention, we keep them at bay until we're done. That's the way to go about it in very practical terms. Yeah. Have a good calendar where you designate and qualify tasks. I keep something very physical. I'm still old school. I have a very bulky diary that I hold on to, and I tend to write things, and as I write them, I start them. No, this is important, this is urgent. I'll come to the urgent ones later, and that guides me. And of course, there are digital devices that can also help you to do that. And then making sure you can screen the use of technology from AI to applications and ensure that all these align with your first things first. They align with your sense of mission, your sense of vision, your sense of priority as a person. If you do all of this, because all these habits are integrated, you will find that you have more control and you become proactive rather than reactive because you're responding and not reacting.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a knowledgeable uncover of the book, Mr. Motivator. Thank you so much for your time.
And I hope people get to read the book, get copies of the book and read. It will definitely, there's so much more. We're just scratching the surface to inspire people to go out there and read Covey's all-time classic, The 7 Habits.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's make these habits real. Here's your Achievers Challenge for the week. 1. Be proactive. Identify one area of your life where you've been reactive. Take one intentional step to change it this week. No blaming, just doing. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Write a 5-sentence personal vision statement. Ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? 3. Put first things first. List your top 3 priorities and schedule time for each one before attending to distractions. Share your journey with us using the hashtag Achievers Book Club. Let's grow together. Next week, we unlock a powerful truth. Leadership is not a position, it's a mindset. In John Maxwell's classic, Developing the Leader Within You, you'll learn how influence begins with self-awareness, grows through service, and it multiplies through people. So whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, or executive, there is a leader inside you waiting to rise. So do not miss it.
I'm Herb English. I am the president of the African American Male Education Network. Big shout out to the Achievement Channel. Really appreciate all the work that you're doing here and abroad. Thank you so much.
My name is Dr. Aaron Vines, Executive Director for AMEN. I want to give a big shout out to the Achievement Channel. You are doing the community and the people's work. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for spending this enriching time with us here at Achievers Book Club. Remember, greatness doesn't happen by accident. It's built by intentional daily habits. Read the right books, take the right steps, and surround yourself with the right people. I'm Sarah Undu, and until next time, we see possibilities.